Hello everyone, I'm Tyler. I go by Eli on PS4. I play a lot of Junkrat and a lot of McCree, although at this point I'm just flexing, and so I've been advised to make a video on how to play Junkrat and how to get clutch kills and how to save the objective if it's last minute. So, starting out, there's not really much you can do during warm-up. Especially if you're on attack. On defense, Junkrat's actually really versatile when it comes to attack and defense. He can put a bear trap on the ground and a concussion mine while being on high ground, and he can spawn camp. Although, if they have a Widow or Hanzo, it's usually pretty sketchy because you have to, if you're trying to spam out the doors, you have to be staring at it. So Junkrat has a ton of mobility, and a big mistake I see people doing is not taking advantage of that. Like, people see the objective and they decide to ult on it, as opposed to touching it last second. This can be a real problem if they're about to go into overtime. And so, unless you know someone else is gonna touch in time, by just like looking around and seeing who's close, then you have to just jump on the objective. Junkrat has a ton of burst potential, which is why he can actually do this fairly unpunished. And so, if you're able to, you can actually get a kill fairly easily, just because you're able to he has so much burst potential. Each direct hit with his mines now, since he recently got nerfed, it's not a big deal, since the strongest way of playing Junkrat is just in your face. Like, direct hits now are the only way they deal maximum damage. So they can still bounce on stuff and everything like that, it's just that they have to hit people, like, directly, as opposed to, like... That was a bit sloppy by me, but since Junkrat has a ton of burst potential, he can kill Bastions really easily. I have a clip on my... YouTube channel about, like, where I was playing against the... I was playing against these campers that were just hiding on the small corner of the objective, and there was a Risa, Bastion, and a Lucia, and so because Junkrat can burst them down so quickly, he can basically deny any camping like that. And so all you have to do if you're facing a Bastion is jump directly on him and then land 2 or 3 normal grenades, and then land 1 concussion mine, and that kills them. And also if they're around a Narisa or something, then it kills them too. But for stuff like that, there was time left, and I knew we were gonna be fine, so I just wanted the kills, and so I was able to ult no problem. Junkrat can jump onto the objective really quickly, and so he is a really good last minute save, but he needs vertical space to move far laterally, and so maps like Horizon Lunar Colony is not good for last minute when they're on the objective. Like, if you're on defense and you're just trying to pile on and get it into overtime, then you can't really go Junkrat. You have to switch to more mobile person like Tracer or Soldier or something, just so that you can get there faster. But for Junkrat, he's good for he's really good for 2 CP maps, because that's usually where you see the Bastion meta in the Reinhardt or Orisa, which means that you can just shoot it above them and bounce it off a wall, and that will damage the Rein and Bastion. It won't damage if you're trying to focus the Bastion first, then it won't damage him that quickly. It won't damage the Rein that quickly, at least. And so you just gotta work around it. So most times Bastion has another DPS with that. And so when you're focusing the Bastion, that's their primary form of DPS. It's just that they still do have at least another one as backup. And usually if they're playing that, they're usually trying to go full cancer, and so they have a Symmetra or whatever. But either way, they're fairly easy to cover with Junkrat, especially if the Sim puts her turrets close together. You saw I didn't leave it there because I need to get up here, and so mistakes have been made.
Here we go.
5,
Close
4,
enough.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So I'm just spamming it here, hoping that I can tag someone, but it didn't look like I did, so I'm moving back. Usually if they have a more mobile person, that they'll like try to dive you, like that Doomfist did, only it was a fairly late reaction, so I didn't have to move back as soon as I necessarily would have had to. And Doomfist is really loud, he's really noisy, and so he's a fairly easy person to detect, especially if he's next to you. So I just heard him charging up and stuff. Genji's, everyone has sound keys in this game, and so being able to like read what that means, each of those mean, is game changing. And Moira's OP, so there's nothing I could have done there. Actually, since we were getting dived hard and people were dying, I should have probably moved back. Because survival is the name of the game when you're on defense. If you get one death, then that's game over basically, because their ults are just so strong. Junkrat's in particular is a huge ult. Even if you take off just the Mercy, that can be the difference between like a win and a loss for the rest of the game. So my attention span wasn't up to par there because I died to the Junkrat next to me, but Junkrat has a ton of like kill potential. Like unless I've rarely gone a game without gold damaging elims playing Junkrat in say I usually primarily play Junkrat on King of the Hill games, you know, where like they're all grouped up together and they all have to go after you. And if you're playing against the Doomfist, you can put your trap in front of you when you think you're wherever you, and well, okay, that was poorly described, but what I'm trying to say is if you think the Doomfist is trying to kill you, just play around a trap you set down and make it so that if he wants to go and punch you, he has to go through that trap. So I don't have any on cooldown right now, but I could kill him anyway just because he was low health and he's still trying to push out. That's a mistake a lot of Doomfists make. Genji makes a lot of noise too, which makes it fairly easy to pick him up on when you're getting dived in the beginning of a game. So as long as you move out before they land directly on top of you, you're usually fine. I think I just stuffed my myself here. Nope. Yep. But Primarily, I'd use Junkrat as a... People say to switch off of Junkrat as... In switch to, like, Reaper or Tank Buster. Junkrat is a Tank Buster, he absolutely is. He just has problems with Divas, because while he can break other shields and stuff, Divas can eat literally every projectile, and his concussion mines, which make him, I wouldn't say useless, I'd just say that they'd make him a lot weaker. And so if they do have a really good Diva on their team, then I actually would suggest switching to a Reaper or something, just so that you can have better flanks. I'm missing really hard here. This Junkrat's getting on my nerves. He keeps on going after, he's been not focusing me, but he's been messing me up here. And a lot of Junkrat is spam, like, I hate to say it, but, like, a lot of it is just spamming and getting ult, because Junkrat can deal a ton of damage out of ult and with ult. And just like that, I killed a guy, like, coming out spawn, which is, like, completely overpowered. Although, actually, I'd say that Junkrat is fairly balanced, and, like, the reason why is that, like, unlike Pharah, he deals the same amount as Pharah, but it's how you play him that's important. And so, like, the people that stay far back and just, like, just poke at him from, like, the middle of nowhere, yeah, that's overpowered, because, like, they can just kill the entire team from really far away. But depending on the playstyle, it's not. It's, you can just be in their face and you can kill the entire team a lot quicker. Like, farming ult is really boring as Junkrat. Like, it's why I plan a lot differently. I kind of saved that Simsys there. Like, I put my traps kind of spontaneously, so where I think, like, where I think the most feet are gonna be, I guess, just where I think most people will go. And so, like, there's no science to, like, where specifically you should put it, just where you think it's gonna get people.
Tell me how this feels.
And usually when I'm in the middle of air, like mid of thin air, then I put it out around health packs, just wherever I'm feeling out where people are. Cause like, no one's like a super genius, no one can predict exactly where everyone's gonna go. But I mean, you can like still... No one's up here? Nope. Junkrat sucks at trying to approach people like that though, because like the Bastion can melt you from far. Like if you're trying to approach a Bastion, like that was probably the crappiest way I could have. Just because like he can go really fast, like vertically, like really quickly. He can't just go straight laterally as quickly as he can, like straight up. And so it's difficult for Junkrats to approach certain people. See that? Like Divas can eat. That's both of my concussions mine down. I mean, there's still hope. I mean, you can just... Divas have a huge hitbox, so I mean, you can like just kind of spam into them, and it should be a fairly easy 1v1, even if you're at lower health. And that's where like people start saying like, oh, Junkrat's OP, stuff like that. That Junkrat got unlucky. Unlucky. Stuff like that. Junkrat's death mines aren't that powerful. You just gotta... Like, you saw me at the end, I was trying to move out of the way of it, but I couldn't. Because I'm smart. And so... I think this one doesn't know that she can make shield gens. Whatever. See how far away I was at that? Like, that's why D.Va counters Junkrat fairly strong. Ooh. Okay, that long shot. Oh, he was aiming at the Moira. He kinda goofy.
30 seconds remaining.
Usually, you wanna shoot the primary fire and then concussion mine, because if you concussion mine first, it knocks them out of the way of your primary attack. You've seen me during this, like, fail at, like, booping them and then shooting them with the primary.
10 seconds remaining.
It works once in a while, and when it does, it looks really clean.
Victory.
Well, anyway, I think that semi-summarizes, like, if you're on attack and you're trying to contest a point, just spamming into, like, the majority of the people, since usually they're grouped up for it, is usually the best way to go. Don't try to all last minute. It's, even though you might get kills, it's just not winning games. I've seen so many Junkrats do that before, and I think that their SR would be a lot higher. They might be in a completely different rank if these Junkrat mains just tried to contest the payload as opposed to ulting. And so, unless you wanna, like, lose SR, just try to contest that. Alright. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.